On June 6, 2025, Resident Evil Requiem, aka Resident Evil 9, was finally unveiled with a reveal trailer that had quite a few surprises for us. Among them the fact that the protagonist of this latest foray into the world of survival horror is a new character, Grace Ashcroft, and not a returning legacy character like Leon S. Kennedy, which is what most, if not all of us, wanted. So are we out of luck then? Will we have to wait until Resident Evil 10 to see the long-awaited return of Leon outside of remakes? Maybe, or maybe not. While he's nowhere to be seen in the reveal trailer, nor is there anything in it that might suggest he will make an appearance, and Capcom themselves obviously haven't said anything about him being in Resident Evil Requiem, I strongly believe that there is a chance that Leon might grace us with his presence come February 27, 2026. Why? Well, there are several reasons. First and foremost, look at what happened with both Resident Evil 7 and Resident Evil Village. RE7 also had a brand new character at the forefront and seemingly no legacy characters. And yet, near the end of the game, Chris Redfield appears. Briefly, sure, but he was in there and he went on to be the star of his own DLC, not a hero. Moreover, while we play as Ethan for most of RE7, we also end up playing as Mia towards the end. Then in Village, Ethan is still the protagonist, but Chris is still present and he plays a much bigger role, to the point that he is even playable near the end of the game. These two games show us that Capcom isn't afraid to pull a character switch mid-game or to have us believe that we will only be playing with a new character. So who's to say they won't do the same thing with Requiem? Grace is the protagonist, yeah, she's likely who we will play as for most of the game. But who's to say Leon won't show up at some point in a supporting role to help her face and combat the many evils she will encounter? Second, Koshi Nakanishi, the director of Requiem, said recently that having Leon be the protagonist of this game was something they considered but ultimately decided not to do. Essentially because they are aiming to make a truly scary game and no one wants to see Leon being scared of everything. He is such an absolute badass that it would be unrealistic to have him jumping at shadows and panicking over every little creak and noise. Basically, he is not fit to be in a horror game that aims to unsettle you by having the protagonist constantly feel vulnerable and terrified. While this might sound like them saying no Leon, Nakanishi only said that Leon is not the protagonist like they originally intended. This does not mean that he is not in the game at all. If he had said instead that they wanted to have Leon in the game but chose not to, then yeah, we could kiss our hopes goodbye. But them not outright denying that he could still appear in some capacity does leave the door open for us to continue to believe. Moreover, depending on how far into development they were when they made the decision not to have Leon as the protagonist, he might already be designed and modeled for this game, making it easier to have him make an appearance. Third, in Resident Evil Requiem, we will return to Raccoon City, the setting of the first 3 Resident Evil games, and the place where it all began, not just for the series, but for Leon as well. After all, he made his debut in Resident Evil 2, which featured the police station as a key location. A location spotlighted prominently in the reveal trailer for Requiem, which might be intentional. RPD is one of the most recognizable landmarks of Raccoon City, but it's also a place inextricably linked to Leon. I simply cannot fathom that they would have Raccoon City return without also bringing back one of the characters who was there on that fateful day in 1998 when the city was overrun with the undead and other monstrosities and subsequently erased off the face of the earth. especially since Requiem will release in the year where the series turns 30. What better way to celebrate such a milestone than having one of the most iconic locations and one of the most iconic characters in the series return together for a full payload of nostalgia. It's also worth mentioning that a lot of fans want to see Leon return. Surely Capcom is not unaware of the massive demand for this and how impactful it would be for the game's reception and success. Finally, notable leaker Dusk Golem said the day after Requiem was revealed, so on June 7, that Leon is in the game, but we won't fully see him for a while. And not only is he in the game, but he is in fact the main character. Moreover, we will supposedly play far more as him than Grace, and this will all become more apparent as marketing continues into release. Obviously, leaks are leaks. They should always be taken with a grain of salt. In this case specifically, saying that Leon will be the main character directly contradicts what Nakanishi said, and having us play more as Leon than Grace goes against what we saw in RE7 and Village with Ethan and Chris. Moreover, Dusk Golem said that Leon was in the reveal trailer, but he isn't, unless I'm blind or they hid him very well. Plus, remember, in the lead up to the release of Resident Evil 7, there was no hint that Chris would appear in the game. Capcom kept his appearance completely under wraps. So would they really reveal that Leon is in Requiem ahead of the game's launch? I doubt it, unless they really want to drive hype and sales. So honestly, I have trouble believing this leak in its entirety. The fact that Leon is in the game, yeah, this I can agree with. The rest seems dubious to me. But who knows, right? And even if most of this may not be true, the fact that even leaks point to Leon being in Requiem only adds even more fuel to the raging inferno that is fan speculation and hope that he will finally make his long-awaited and overdue return very soon. So, will Leon be in Resident Evil Requiem? Right now, no one can say for certain. I definitely cannot guarantee it. What I can say, however, is that there's more than enough evidence pointing in that direction to make believing it a very reasonable stance to take. Therefore, ladies and gentlemen, fingers crossed. Let's keep the dream alive. Now, I want to hear from you down in the comments. Do you think Leon will make an appearance in Resident Evil Requiem? Do you want him to? Why or why not? Do you agree with my reasoning? Do you believe the leaks? Please let me know your thoughts. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to hit that like button. And make sure to subscribe so you won't miss any future videos. I have plenty more videos like this already waiting for you, so be sure to check them out too. And if you want to support the channel and help me keep making content like this, you can find links to my Patreon and other ways to contribute down in the description and the pinned comment. Every little bit helps, and I'm truly grateful for any and all support. Thank you so very much for watching, and let's meet again in the next video.